Creationist Ken Ham weighed in on the debate that he had with Bill Nye recently, and he spoke a little bit about a new project he's working on. Let's listen.
I came in and taught people how to understand evidence, how all evidence is interpreted based upon your starting point, and that believing in evolution of millions of years, that's Bill Nye's starting point. That's his belief. That's his religion, and made that very, very clear during the debate. That's why I think that Bill Nye and other secularists like him don't publicize, or make available the debate DVDs and encourage people to watch it. He just goes out there and put out his book and tries to slam us and tries to make out that creationists know nothing about science and so on. Makes just a lot of statements because he's attacking our position. It shows an increasing, and this is what's happening with our art project, by the way, Tim. It shows an increasing intolerance out there of these people who oppose us. They're intolerant of the Christians, and yet it's the Christians who are tolerant of these people and their positions. We don't agree with them, but we're tolerant. But it's these people that are becoming increasingly intolerant against Christians.
But you're doing a ARK project similar to, it's in terms of its how much it costs and such like that. It's very similar to the Creation Museum, I think. But what's it going to be? Where is it going to be? When will it be open? All that good stuff.
Actually, because it's 2015 now, the life-size Noah's Ark, and that's what it is. It's a life-size Noah's Ark that we're building out of wood, so it's 500 feet long, 85 feet wide, 45 feet high. It's going to stand 12 feet off the ground, so it's going to stand 7 stories high. You're going to be able to walk under it and then into it and then walk through exhibits answering questions like how to know if it's the animals on the Ark and so on, all the way through the whole Ark. Even going to be a restaurant right on top of the Ark, actually. It's under construction right now. It'll be opened in 2016. And this is going to be, I believe it's going to be one of the greatest evangelistic outreaches of our day, of our era history. And the atheists are opposing it in a big way. We've got a big conflict with the state of Kentucky right now over religious freedom issues and free exercise of religion in regard to this project. People can read about that on our website, and I'm sure it's going to be headline news and more and more in the next few weeks.
That is precious. He's arguing at the end there that religious freedom entails that he gets a subsidy from the state to make his goofy Noah's Ark park. I'm not kidding. This was a big article a week or two ago where he was angry, and everybody that works with him is angry because they thought, you're attacking their religious freedom by not having the state subsidize their Christian theme park. I mean, what these guys view as an attack on religious freedom is at the point where it's just comical. Like, if I wanted to write a book that promotes atheism, and I ask the state for a subsidy and they say no, does that mean that they're intolerant of atheists because they didn't give me $400,000 to write a book about atheism? No, it just means they're neutral. They're on the sidelines. They're not supporting or opposing what you're doing. They're not stopping you from doing your park, but they're not going to take taxpayer money and give it to you because there are plenty of taxpayers who don't agree with what you're doing. It's amazing that they don't understand that. How does that not get through their thick heads? And then also this park, understand, Ken Ham, he's a guy who believes in Bible fundamentalism. He believes the Bible is literally true. And he believes that Noah's Ark really happened. Like, any further conversation with this guy is done just based off that. Like, to believe that, you have to be such an incredible science denier. It's like on a whole nother level. Because think about the story of Noah's Ark. First of all, Noah lived to like the age of 930. Already not possible. Also, the dimensions and the size of his ark, his boat that he made in the Bible, is bigger than it's possible to make a wooden boat, which is the only kind of boats they can make at the time. It's not possible to build one that big. And also, he got every kind of animal on the earth, 2 of them on the ark, and he made them fuck, and then they saved society and saved the world. Let me ask you a question. How did you keep the polar bears cold enough and the tigers warm enough? Some of these come from tropical climates. Some of them come from desert climates, snakes. Some of them come from Arctic climates. They can't all survive. And are we really having a conversation about this? There's millions of different kinds of animals. You know how many different kinds of insects? There's millions of different kinds of insects. And you're to tell us that every single one of them, he got on the boat and then they had sex. How did you feed all of them? Where did you put all the food? And wouldn't they all be eating each other? I mean, they're animals. This is nature. Again, the level to which it doesn't make sense. There also was no great flood. You know what the great flood is in biblical terms? It's the area that these people lived in that was flooded every once in a while. It doesn't mean that, often where France is at the time and where fucking Canada is, that it was flooded there. It's not true at all. But he's so backwards. And Bill Nye debated this guy. Now, then he argues Bill Nye is intolerant of Christians. And scientists are intolerant of Christians. No, it's not intolerant to say you are factually incorrect. If somebody comes in and they tell me 2 + 2 = 22, and they're fervent in that opinion, and they're strong in that opinion, and then I say, no, it actually equals 4, that doesn't mean I'm intolerant of their position that 2 + 2 = 22. It means that they're wrong, and I'm pointing it out. It's the same thing with you and Bill Nye. Now, I'll wrap it up quick here, because I could go on and on forever, but he says at one point, well, I let everybody know that the way you evaluate science is your starting point is what matters. And my starting point is a biblical worldview. He didn't say that there, but he said that in the past. I've heard him say that in the past. And he gets it exactly backwards. No, that's not the point of science. The point of science is you have a process, you have a method, and you go through it, and then whatever the answer is, it is. So you have a hypothesis, which is what you think is the case, then you test it, then you retest it, and then if it turns out that your hypothesis was correct, it becomes a theory. And theory basically means fact in scientific terms. But you have it backwards. You let the evidence pile on itself and let it point to its own conclusion. You don't come up with something that you think is true and then back it up no matter what. That's not a scientific truth. That's a conviction. So you have a conviction that the Bible is true, and with no evidence whatsoever. But you say, since that's my starting point, that's going to be my end point too. And he says, at one point he says, that's Bill Nye's religion. Evolution is Bill Nye's religion. No, it's not a religion if you're going through an empirical process to ascertain the reality of the nature of the world, which is what Bill Nye is doing. See, if Bill Nye was presented with evidence tomorrow that changes our entire understanding of evolution or changes our entire understanding of anything, he would go, oh, okay, that's the new thing. See, science is often maligned as arrogant, but it's the most humble thing you could ever do. Because scientists, whenever they're wrong, they're the first to admit they're wrong. I mean, scientific inquiry and the scientific process, by its nature, mandates that we always need to update to figure out the nature of reality. So if an old theory is wrong, or if an old hypothesis is wrong, okay, great, we all embrace the new one. You don't see that in religion. In religion, it's the same thing 2,000 years ago. It's the same thing today. The words are the words of God, and they're inerrant, and you can never change them. Whereas science changes with the nature of reality because it is humble, religion is not.